Wow, so Traore, huh? What's happening in Burkina Faso is fascinating, it's inspiring, and it's fantastic. Like, what the thing about it is, it really is having the effect, at least on me, of um, I feel inspired, I feel hopeful, and I'm also really getting a broader picture of America's relationship with African American people. What I'm like really understanding that I didn't before is, I think we were really disconnected from the continent, me in our minds. So it's like we've been away so long that we were like, what is Africa? Not only that, haven't been taught anything about Africa. If you want to learn anything about Africa, you have to go and seek out that knowledge. And some of us did. Some of us have been privy to it, have been in those environments of people who sought out that information and knowledge. Why? Identity. Like, who are we? Where did we come from? How did we get in this mess? And how do we get out of it? Damn. You know what I'm saying? It's been centuries that we've been here in America. Some of us were here, before colonialism, but the primary narrative, at least, because I wasn't a part of enslavement, not the chattel slavery that we hear about. As far as I know, my grandparents weren't. I think I'm not exactly sure what their experience was, but what I do know is that I belong to a community of people who have been subjected to that, but also who um, I'll say are products of that, because there's no way that you go through all of that and are not affected by it. It could be positive ways, it could be negative ways. It could be ways that you really just are not consciously aware of. What I'll say is that I am fortunate that I belong to a family of people who um, had some consciousness around it. Because part of being in a system of oppression is you are conditioned to think in certain ways. That's how the oppression gets perpetuated. That's how it's maintained. Because if somebody doesn't buy into certain ideas about who you are, about who they are, then that um, condition of subjugation cannot exist, cannot continue to exist. And so decolonizing our minds is a very real thing. And even people who are from the oppressor class, they have a way of thinking that will continue. I think one thing that's really been, I think, a question on a lot of our minds is, if you are at the top of the food chain and privileged and you have everything, then why are you angry? Like, where's all the hatred coming from? Why do you seem to be so upset and discontent and, always having something to say to us? Like, excuse me? It's very perplexing because it kind of doesn't make sense. It seems like if you created a world and a dynamic in which you are prioritized, you're served, you are afforded every opportunity, there's always a way made clear for you to do what you want to do. You don't even really suffer too many consequences, comparatively speaking, for when you mess up. or when you do something wrong, right? It's like that's how the system is set up. That's part of what it means to be privileged. And so it's like, okay, how do you have all of that, but you are still just angry? Something to ask. I have a theory. I'll tell you what my theory is. Well, one, in this context of white supremacy, I really can see the dynamic where this is a group of people who are continually manipulated, and this is what I mean by that. So if you know anything about the we'll call it a narcissistic family dynamic, where the whoever's at the head of it, I mean, it can apply to just about any kind of a group dynamic. But whoever is at the head of it, if they have a narcissistic kind of personality, then there are typically these roles in the family system. You have the scapegoat. That's usually the person who is creative and they see truth. They can see the patterns. And they tend to be the scapegoat, meaning when things go wrong, they're the ones that get blamed. You have the golden child. That's the one that is the favorite or the favored one. You have the lost child, the one that's kind of forgotten about. You have enablers. You have flying monkeys. All of this is a part of a system, and so the people who enable that behavior are closest to the narcissist. But I don't know, interesting dynamic when you really study it. But that person who is the golden child has is also suffers from abuse. As long as they're doing what the narcissist wants them to do, is fine. But as soon as they start to waver this way, that way, they definitely get punished. And sometimes they're completely loyal and committed and still get punished because it's the narcissist world. You just are in it. So I think that's one dynamic. Like, I'm looking at it and just seeing it so much more broadly. And Africa and the diaspora is tired. Like, this has been a protracted war. I see the elements of it more clearly now. I understand a little bit better why they are, why the nastiness, why the anti-blackness. Um, And so I don't really want to go into all of that. I just wanted to stop by for a minute, say hi, give a shout out to Ibrahim Traore. Thank you so much for all the work that you're doing. You are an absolute inspiration to the diaspora. You see, people came out. Yesterday was April 30th, 2025, and from all over the diaspora, people hit the streets because we could see that the West was gearing up. There's already been 20 assassination attempts on your life, and we got you though. You know what I mean? In spirit, we are with you. We're with you in spirit, and know that you're not alone. Know that there is a collective coming home. Everybody has their part to play. I think we know that instinctively. And so once again, thank you, and see you soon.